Now, this is the very last of our session when I will be talking about motivation. Motivation actually goes both ways, both for self and for others. You motivate yourself and you motivate your others. You remember we spoke about emotional intelligence being or having two components, which is self, personal, and others. Now, you cannot motivate other people if you're not motivated yourself. You need to motivate yourself and also motivate other people. We're saying that this is the desire and drive to achieve, to seek out challenges and learn from both success and failure. It's characterized by commitment and persistence, the drive, the initiative, the optimism, and the charisma. Not so many people have this, but we're saying we learn on a daily basis. We need to learn. We need to learn to instill in ourselves positive thoughts. We need to learn to say positive things to other people. We need to learn to be optimistic. We need to learn to at least, when we fail, when we fall, pick ourselves up and continue. That is motivation. We learn from our failures. There's no one person who cannot say, I've never failed in life in one occasion or another, or whatever the case may be, but, you don't stay there. You learn, you take it as a lesson learned, and then, go at it again and do something different. Now, this is still the competency model, the one we spoke about earlier of Daniel Goldman, where we said there is self, there is social, there is self-management, there is a relationship management, and all of these are also characterized by motivation. As I said, it actually goes both ways. It's motivation for self and then motivation for others. Now, remember with this self-awareness and social awareness, it's recognition actually, which includes the empathy we spoke about. Now, with the other last components, self-management, relationship management, is the regulation. Now you are able to in fact, let's just say, you look at the self aspect. It's a self-awareness. That is the self-confidence, the emotional self-awareness, accurate self-assessment that would lead to now social awareness, empathy. Only when you understand yourself, you understand your emotional triggers, you now are able to be empathetic also towards other people, perhaps even experiencing the same kind of emotions that you are. Be empathetic, that involves a social awareness, organizational awareness and service orientation that also ultimately leads to relationship management, that you are now that inspirational leader who normally we say you lead by example. People see you, people that report to you are able to say, okay, you know what, even when he's angry, even when she's angry, she's able to retreat, she's able to, you know what, just let me give myself a little, maybe 20 minutes to just think this through, and then I'll communicate after, instead of just shouting at people and shouting and at your direct reports, and then ultimately making them very scared to even come to your office. And also leading to trustworthiness, leading to achievement of goals, leading to drive to succeed, and that now just there's that loyalty, now there's that trust, because we have learned now to manage our emotions, we've learned to be empathetic, we've learned to control them, we've learned to be aware of what triggers certain emotions and many other things. Emotional intelligence can be practiced and it can be learned, as I did indicate earlier. Now, you need to also know that in learning, it won't be easy, but it requires being truthful to yourself. It requires being honest with yourself and accepting that this is who I am. And if you don't like what you see, you need to change it. If you like what you see, you need to nurture it. But with learning emotional intelligence, then there are certain things that you can say to yourself, that I am responsible for my own feelings and not anyone else. I'm responsible for my own behavior and not anyone else. I always have choices about how I respond to situations, to events, and to people. No one can make me upset, angry, or happy but myself. Identify my choices, and that empower me to take a fresh look at my behavior, recognize my range of choices in an excellent way to start changing my behavior for the better, especially if you don't like what you see. I can practice and learn new and more effective behaviors. Now, what does someone who has high emotional intelligence look like or experience, and what does someone who has low emotional intelligence look like or experience? Now, with someone who has high emotional intelligence, we're saying, I feel open, I'm not preoccupied with negative emotions, I can identify the feelings of others, I'm emotionally resilient, my decisions are based on feelings and logic. I accept myself and I listen to others. I'm a good listener and I talk about my problems. I'm not saying we should all talk about our problems to work, but especially if it's work related, we should talk about it. Now, for someone who has low emotional intelligence, I think you'll realize with someone who has high emotional intelligence, we said, I feel. Now, for someone who has low, you always make me feel. Now, this is someone who's now shifting the blame. You cannot share feelings verbally. Negative feelings dominate your thoughts, not perceptive to others' feelings. You carry grudges. You are unforgiving. You act without reasoning or logic. You're not accepting of self or others. You are a poor listener, and you hit out when there is a problem. Now, looking at that, perhaps you have a little bit of both, but it's okay. What is important is that you now need to learn. You now need to be aware. You now need to realize what triggers, what brings about those negative thoughts, what brings about me acting without giving it thought. Why am I carrying judges? Why am I so unforgiving? Why am I a poor listener, or whatever it is? Or you boil things up, and when you boil things up, when people haven't properly engaged in an effective manner with you, you lash out. What brings about that? So what is important is for us to realize those emotional triggers. Understanding our emotions, you recognize what events are likely to trigger different emotions. For others, we have good triggers. Could be our graduations, could be our promotions. The day I got that promotion, the day I got a letter, so I got a job, our anniversaries, and many other things. And also, we're also saying could be bad as well. I'm sure all of us have at one point or another lost our loved ones. Normally on those days, it's an emotional trigger. You sort of become sad, or you also, not become happy that they are gone, but you celebrate their life because there's nothing you can do, like bring them back. Also know what emotions can combine to form complex blends of feelings, and also realize what emotions can progress over time, and transitioning from one to another, that now allow us to hold those grudges for the long periods. The do's and don'ts for using emotional intelligence. The don'ts, we're saying, don't assume that you don't bring your emotions to work with you. That we should not assume. Trust me, we all do. Don't think that emotional intelligence is not relevant to your job. For every person, doesn't matter what profession we are in. Don't think that your emotional intelligence needs no further development. I said earlier, this is something that we learn on a daily basis. So the longer you learn, or the more you learn, the more you actually discover things about yourself, good things and also things. But also we're saying, do observe your emotional reactions to other people. It is important that you do, so that you're able to manage them accordingly. Do consider how you might test and develop your emotional intelligence. Do ask yourself honestly how well you react to the concerns of others. How well do you react to being given feedback, for instance? And also, do enjoy working with your emotional intelligence. It is important that do. Now, in managing our emotions as well, you need to stay open to feelings. You need to blend emotions with thinking and also reflectively monitor our emotions. Hence, I also said earlier, be able to realize what are your emotional triggers, because then you can monitor them if you know what your triggers are. But in essence, we are saying being intelligent about emotions means that we can perceive and use emotions to create optimal relationships and produce desired outcomes. That, in essence, that we're saying with emotional intelligence. Now, can it be learned? We did say yes, we can learn it. You can learn or can develop your EI, which is emotional intelligence, or EQ, by upgrading your emotional skills. The popular thinking that EI is entirely inherited is incorrect. Emotional intelligence is not fixed at birth. There are no emotional intelligence genes as such that we know of today with all the books that I've read, but it is something that one has learned. It is something that one can learn. Now, remember what I said earlier in one of the slides. This is that quote from Aristotle who says, anyone can be angry, and that is very easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose and the right way, that is not easy. So let's reflect honestly. Let's reflect and look at ourselves and look at how we interact with other people to say, how has my emotions really impacted on them? Knowing what I know now that I didn't know before I started on this module of emotional intelligence, how have those emotions, impacted on my workplace? How have they impacted on them, their well-being as well, and our working relationship? Now, they say people may forget what you said and forget what you did, but may never forget how you made them feel. So that feeling of gratitude, honestly, and you're feeling that feeling of gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it away. So why are you buying this present and wrapping it so nicely but you're not giving it away? Give compliment where it's due. Honestly, your subordinates have done something well, your direct reports have done something well, your colleagues, whoever it may be, home, working place, if you need to do that, if you need to express that feeling of gratitude, do it. Because remember, we said people will never forget how you make them feel. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. I would have wished I met with you physically. We could have, I think, had a lot of interactions, perhaps even a lot of exercises, but now the new norm requires us to interact in this manner. But I think we shall meet soon. I think things will sort of go back to the new normal. They won't go back to the old normal, but things will go back to the new normal. And I think we will meet physically soon. And with that, I thank you.